20% of the world's oil moves through a single choke point, a strip of water just 21 miles wide at its narrowest point. And right now, Iran has placed underwater mines across it, invisible, patient, and deadly. This is not a hypothetical. This is happening. And the US Navy is in the middle of one of the most dangerous clearing operations on the planet. Stay with me, because what's unfolding in the Strait of Hormuz is more complex, more dangerous, and more consequential than anything you're seeing in the headlines. Let's establish what's actually at stake here. The Strait of Hormuz sits between Iran to the north and Oman and the UAE to the south. At its narrowest, it is 21 miles wide, and yet roughly 20% of the world's traded oil passes through it every single day. That's about 17 million barrels. Saudi oil, Kuwaiti oil, Iraqi oil, Emirati oil. All of it funneled through this one corridor before reaching global markets. Shut it down, and you don't just inconvenience a few shipping companies. You send oil prices spiking, you strain allies in Europe and Asia, and you hand Iran enormous leverage without firing a single conventional weapon. And this isn't the first time Iran has played this card. In 1988, during what became known as the Tanker War, Iranian forces laid mines across these same waters. The USS Samuel B. Roberts struck one of those mines. The explosion blew a hole in her hull, nearly sank the ship, and injured 10 sailors. That was a single mine, laid over 3 decades ago. Today's mines are significantly more advanced, and there are more of them. But here's what most news channels aren't telling you. Clearing these mines is only half the problem. The Navy has to do it while defending against missile and drone attacks at the same time, and that changes everything about how this operation works. So what exactly is the US Navy dealing with in the water? Modern naval mines are nothing like the floating steel balls you've seen in old war films. Today's mines sit on the seabed or are anchored at a precise depth below the surface, completely invisible from the deck of any ship passing above. They are triggered by a combination of 3 sensor systems working together. First, magnetic. The mine detects the metal hull of a vessel, distorting the Earth's magnetic field as it passes overhead. Second, acoustic. The mine listens for the specific sound signature of a ship's engines and propellers. Every vessel class has a unique acoustic fingerprint. Third, pressure. As a large hull displaces water, it creates a pressure wave ahead of it. The mine detects that pressure change. Advanced mines require all 3 conditions to be met simultaneously before detonation. That's not an accident. It's designed to defeat countermeasures. It means a mine can detonate directly beneath a ship without the vessel ever physically touching it. Iran's playbook for deploying these mines is well documented. Small IRGC fast boats operating at night, submarines, even covert divers. The mines can be placed with minimal signature, making detection before deployment nearly impossible. A single mine of this type can blow a hole in a destroyer. Imagine what a coordinated minefield does to a fleet trying to push through a narrow strait under time pressure. As the American fleet approached the Strait of Hormuz, the mission was clear: reopen the waterway, restore the passage of oil tankers, and do it without losing a ship. The first challenge was speed, or rather, the forced lack of it. At high speed, the risk of running over an undetected mine is too great. Every ship in the formation slowed to a crawl. That's when the fleet is most vulnerable, moving slowly, concentrated, in a narrow channel. It's exactly the scenario Iran would want. So the Navy ran the operation on 2 tracks simultaneously: mine clearance forward and full combat defense around the entire formation. Helicopters launched from the carrier and began flying systematic patterns over the water ahead of the fleet. Some towed sonar sleds. Detection equipment dragged through the water on long cables that scanned the seabed in real time and relayed data back to the ship. The helicopter crews worked sector by sector, methodically mapping the route. Meanwhile, all onboard sonar systems and mine detection scanners were active, sweeping ahead and below every hull in the formation. When a contact was flagged, the response moved through 3 phases: detect, classify, neutralize. And this next part is something Hollywood always gets wrong. In their quarters below deck, Navy explosive ordnance disposal divers suited up. Wetsuits, breathing apparatus, dive computers, underwater lights, communication gear. Once ready, they boarded rigid hull inflatable boats and motored out to the coordinates flagged by the sonar teams. They descended to the seabed. Visibility was limited. They moved slowly through the reef structure using lights, searching for the contact. And they found it, a mine wedged deep in the coral, partially buried, in a position where an unmanned vehicle could not safely maneuver to neutralize it. The divers conducted a close visual assessment, confirmed the type and condition of the mine, and reported back to the ship by underwater comms. The call came back. Do not attempt manual disarming. The mine's position in the reef made direct handling too dangerous. Instead, the divers marked the location, ascended, and cleared the area. From the ship, the crew deployed a mine disposal vehicle, a small, remotely operated submersible built specifically for this task. An operator guided it using a live video feed on a monitor. The vehicle descended, approached the mine carefully, and placed a demolition charge directly next to it. The operator confirmed placement. The vehicle backed away to safe distance. The charge detonated. A muffled underwater explosion sent a column of water and debris to the surface. The sonar team confirmed the contact was gone. Route clear. And while every single one of those dives and disposals was happening, the rest of the fleet maintained full combat posture. Soldiers behind deck-mounted machine guns, lookouts sweeping the horizon, anti-air systems tracking for Iranian Shahed drones and ballistic missiles, cruisers and submarines at full combat readiness, because the threat of an attack, while the fleet was slow and occupied, was constant and real. So where does this go from here? There are 3 realistic scenarios, and the data points clearly to which one is most likely. Scenario 1. Iran backs down. The mining operation fails to hold the strait, the fleet clears the corridor, and Iran accepts a diplomatic off-ramp to avoid direct military confrontation. This has happened before. Iran typically calibrates its aggression just below the threshold that triggers a full response. Scenario 2. Controlled escalation. Iran launches a limited strike, drones, fast boat harassment, or a missile attack on a non-carrier asset, to signal resolve without crossing into full-scale war. This forces a U.S. response, raises oil prices, and gives Tehran leverage in any subsequent negotiations. Scenario 3. Miscalculation. A mine detonates under a U.S. vessel, sailors die, and the political pressure to respond decisively becomes impossible to contain. This is the scenario no one wants, and the one that keeps analysts awake at night. Every time there has been a serious Hormuz crisis, 1988, 2019, the tanker attacks, oil markets have reacted immediately. A full closure of the strait, even for 48 hours, would send prices to levels not seen since the 2008 peak. Nations across Europe, East Asia, and South Asia are watching this in real time, because their energy security is directly on the line. The current threat level is high, not because war is inevitable, but because the margin for error in a narrow strait, with mines in the water, a fleet moving at minimum speed, and both sides with air and missile assets on standby, is extraordinarily thin. Before I get to the bottom line, if this kind of strategic breakdown is useful to you, hit subscribe. This is exactly what I cover, what the headlines skip, what the tactics actually mean, and where things are heading before the rest of the internet figures it out. Hit subscribe and you won't miss it. Here is your strategic briefing. 3 points. Point 1. The mines are real, sophisticated, and deliberately placed. These are not improvised devices. They are sensor-fused weapons designed to defeat countermeasures, and Iran has decades of experience deploying them in these exact waters. Point 2. The U.S. Navy's mine clearance capability is the best in the world. But it is slow, it is dangerous, and it requires the fleet to operate at its most vulnerable while clearing the route. Iran knows this. The minefield is as much a tactical trap as it is a physical barrier. Point 3. This operation is not just about clearing a shipping lane. It is a direct test of American resolve and capability in a region where every actor, Saudi Arabia, Israel, China, Russia, is watching to see what the United States will and will not do. The one indicator to watch in the coming days: Iranian naval movement near the strait. If IRGC fast boats begin repositioning, or if satellite imagery picks up activity at Iran's mine storage and logistics facilities, that is your signal that Tehran is preparing a second layer of response, not standing down. This situation is not over. It may be just beginning. Drop your prediction in the comments right now. Does Iran escalate, or does this end with a quiet diplomatic exit? I want to know what you think. And if you want to understand Iran's full naval strategy, not just the mines, but the missiles, the fast boats, the proxy network, that video is right here. Watch it next.